Hey guys, this is Josh Shoemaker here, joined again with Dan Keenan per usual for our next series in our ball reviews that we do. This time it's going to be for the 900 Mobile Viking. So the Viking, kind of chatted a little bit before this video. Kind of a little, I wouldn't say surprise release, but I wasn't quite expecting them to go this direction. I knew the Origin was a big hit for the guys. I know Dan threw his a lot. I threw mine a little bit, but for me it was very cover dominant. So if it was good for me on the fresh, it was usually a pretty good option. But it was almost a little too strong for me to go as like a 2-ball. So when they came out with the Viking with a little bit higher RG, a little lower diff, a little cleaner cover, I got really excited. So the Viking, it features the Reserve Blend 90 hybrid cover. So a little bit lower down on the cover strength as compared to the Origin and the Strobe AI core. Which, like all the AI balls, seems to kind of get the stuff to roll a little bit heavier, a little bit more forward. The numbers on it is 251 for the RG, 052 for the differential, and then the 016 for the intermediate. So immediately when I kind of looked at the direction they were heading with this, having the hybrid cover, a little like medium RG core, it kind of instantly reminded me of the UFO Alert, which if anyone has followed the videos for any sort of time knows that I've been a huge fan of that ball forever. I actually have one on the rack here. I have a case of them stashed at home. Just kind of one of those really unique pieces that really wants to rev up early in the front part of the lane. It's clean enough where it gets through all the early friction we have around here and just really blends the patterns front to back really well. This being a little bit newer cover technology, a little bit stronger cover, I would say. This is definitely a little bit quicker than my alerts are, but I think once this gets a little bit of oil in it and tames down a little bit, I think they're going to be fairly close. So I'm going to beat up house shot here, starting a little bit further left than I normally would. Just try to stay kind of forward with it.
Of course, you struck all during warm-up.
Yeah, no shocker there.
All right, when you're really practicing, kids, pick your spares, but for the purposes of this video, we don't have to.
On video, we make them all, right?
All right, let's see what we got here. All right, still getting loose.
It's too cold outside to start bowling this quick.
We're getting that time of year.
So another ball when I was kind of looking at similar ones in the line, which I'm glad Dan brought as well, is the Gremlin. The Gremlin for me has been a little hit or miss. With the cover being a little bit weaker and the core being a little bit larger, for me it seems like it doesn't blend the lane very well. I do think strength-wise, though, this Viking and the Gremlin are really close. I did drill them the same. Also hit this with just a very light 2000 just to crack the shell like I do on all the shiny stuff with the power edge. But I feel like this blends the lane a little bit better front to back than the Gremlin does for me. But I feel like I can get more left with the Gremlin. So I'm going to go the same spot as the last one. Still trying to roll it. See if we can a little bit better of a shot this time. There you go. All right. Well, we got the 5-7 out with that one, so that was good.
By the way, we are bowling on whatever's left over.
Yeah,
I think,
whatever mystery the boo oil is. I think Barnes calls it the leftover from the senior league.
So as Josh was saying, so far what I've seen from this ball is really good. I compare it to UFO Alert as well. Unfortunately, I don't have one anymore. I think it's a little more predictable than what the Origin was. The Origin was a great piece for me last year. Really, the only reason I don't throw the Origin still is I did a significant pitch change in the last month and a half. So with all the new balls coming out and some other stuff, I just didn't fix those and I gave them away. Tighter. All right, better.
We're inching
They're
closer.
clipped. I'll inch back right. Of course, when I was getting loose, my ball speed wasn't up yet, so I struck a lot. Now I have some ball speed. We gotta move.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move. We'll go 1 and 1 right off that last one because I actually thought that last one was pretty decent. It still kind of wavered a little bit.
There you go.
There we go. 20 shots in, first strike.
So layout for me, more of a transition piece. I wanted it to kind of come after the Equinox solids, maybe a little bit before the Gremlin. So this one is 4.5 by 5 by probably 1.5, maybe 2. So I'm gonna go a little right here. See if I can get it to roll. Of course, the one my footwork's bad on is the one I strike. So what I'm seeing from this piece is it definitely revs up. I think the way the core has the notches in the core, they almost coiled out the core a little bit. It's almost like a little spiral through the core. It really seems to start the ball up early, but not sacrifice motion in the mid lane or down lane. Definitely more forward and more predictable piece than the Origin was. The Origin sometimes, because of the stronger cover, would stand up and start to burn up a little bit sooner than anticipated. And this seems to really be a piece for those of you that like the original Origin. This piece can really feed off of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's kind of funny because I really didn't. I stumbled upon the core numbers a little bit before, but I didn't want to look too much into them and compare them because I just kind of want to throw it and see. And the fact that I was looking back now and seeing that the intermediate was 0.16, I was actually kind of surprised that the intermediate was that high because for me it feels like kind of more of a symmetrical motion for me. It's similar like numbers to kind of like in the Ion Pro series or the Gremlins with kind of the mild asymmetry. So I was kind of surprised that. So it's good thing about that is that you're going to have a ton of versatility when it comes to drilling. If you drill one an inch stronger, it's going to react a lot different than the weaker one. And I actually ended up drilling this very close to what Dan's is. I believe this one's the 4.25 by 5.25 by like 1 7/8, which has just been my typical like test pattern for balls. So I'll go ahead and move back one left and just get a touch slower with it. It's hooking now. It's still fairly forward with that one, but just tried to tame down the ball speed about 0.5 mile an hour, and that one sucked up high flush.
So over the history of my career, the pearl balls I like the most are the ones that actually look like they roll like a solid. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I really base my pearls, good pearls, off of how do they rev up, how do they dig in the lane.
Oh.
All right, as you can see, there's quite a slop there in the middle.
Yeah, be left or right of it. It
Probably let
like.
it see the friction a little more on the next one.
So yeah, really excited when I started throwing this. I actually have quite a few events coming up here on kind of some more challenge patterns, not as flat stuff, like some 3 to 1 to 4 to 1 patterns, a couple of doubles tournaments and over under stuff. So when the patterns are a little bit softer, I'm a really big fan of using like these textured cleaner balls because I feel like they blend the lane a little bit better for me when they're a little softer. So I'm really excited to get to throw this in a couple events as well as league too. So go ahead and move two and two, and just get a little softer with it. Yeah. I was talking to another staffer buddy of mine recently, and I said it feels just kind of like it's one of those balls where you can kind of do whatever you want at the bottom with your hand, and it's just kind of going to follow that direction. So if you want to add some axis rotation rev rate, it's going to keep coming. You back it off a little bit, it's just going to float through there a little easier.
All right, I'm going to move just a couple left and see if I can let it see that friction to the right. See if I can move my eyes earlier enough to see that. Oh, yeah. I like when I execute what I say I'm going to do.
Go ahead and throw one more here. I'm just going to move a little more left, and then I'll get in a couple of the comparison pieces. Ended up rambling a little more than usual in this. We're already almost 11 minutes into the video, so YouTube gets funky when you try to upload stuff over 20 minutes. It's not a big fan of that. So, let's see where I stood in the last one. So I'm going to go ahead and move. Let's go 3 and 2. Really slow it down here. Add a little more axis rotation. Oh.
Left it in the slop just a little.
And getting a little greedy with that one. Probably about half a mile an hour too quick.
All right, I'm gonna. I think Josh said we're already 12 minutes in. I'm gonna throw the Gremlin, which a little bigger core, weaker cover. I also drilled it slightly weaker. By slightly weaker, I mean this is probably 5 by 3 by 4. So for me, this gets the pin right above my middle finger. First thing I'm going to do is bump right here and see. So I closed my angles there compared to the Viking. A little more responsive down lane.
So first ball I got here is my Hyperdrive Pearl. This for me with a little bit lower RG. Feel like it's a touch stronger in the cover. This is going to be a little bit earlier and rounder. This has been one of my favorite pieces of the year. Was actually able to win a tournament about a month ago with this too, throwing it to the arrows for pretty much the entire event, and I was surprised with how much energy it kept storing. So I'm going to go ahead and move back to where I was the second to last shot. Still staying fairly forward with it. You can definitely see this be a little bit earlier and more forward off the end of the pattern. Yeah.
Stronger.
Yeah, definitely stronger, definitely earlier. More forward. So that's definitely going to be a good ball up from that Viking for me.
So another ball I was thinking about to compare to asymmetrically would be the original Equinox. My favorite ball of the last year or so. This has a stronger layout on it. Stronger ball, stronger layout. I haven't really touched the cover or cleaned the cover ever because it's just that good for me. I'm going to assume. Let's see, Gremlin, I went back right. I'm going to go to the last spot I threw the Viking and let it use the friction. So I would say the Equinox probably blends the lane just a little bit more than the Viking. Definitely started up a little earlier. But blended the lane enough where it did the same. The result was the same.
I definitely, the Equinox for me gave me closer to like Origin vibes, where it felt like it was kind of that bigger, a little chuggier Ace and Pearl kind of first out of the bag and the league stuff. I personally wasn't a huge fan of the Equinox. Really like the Equinox solid, so it's kind of funny how that works out.
Josh never likes the balls I like.
No, we rarely like the same ball ever. And Dan will say, "Oh, I ordered my third one." I said, "Well, I already gave away my first one." So I'll go ahead into the UFO alert here. This one's actually drilled about a half-inch weaker. We'll go ahead and stand in the same spot where that last one was. Oh, God. Oh, slipped a little on that one, but you can see that one floated through there quite a bit easier and was more responsive. That feels almost carbon copy to the Viking from that spot for me.
All right, I'm going to give... I also use these videos to learn, so sometimes this is my first opportunity to compare some balls to it. So I'm going to end the video going right where I just threw the Equinox and see if you can see the difference. Oh, what do you got? What do you got? Oh. Floated a little too long. All right, now Josh has to end the video. I couldn't end it. It's got to end on a
try
strike.
my best here. So I'm going to go same spot as that alert, so I'll give you a back-to-back shot here of hopefully those somewhat on top of each other and see how close they are. Yeah. That was pretty good though. So yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good explanation. Didn't strike as much as we did in practice, but big fan of this. I had a chance to throw last week on a double burn league that I bowl in and had 750 out of the box with it. And I know Dan's been toying around with his. And
yep.
I think you said you ordered another one already, right?
Yeah, I did. You know, there's a new ball coming out that we have to do a video probably next week. So some of you have already seen that the Phase 2's been Pearl's been announced. So I couldn't just order one. Had to add something to the box just to make the UPS guy have to do a little lifting.
Yeah, you don't want it to be asymmetrically loaded there.
No, no, not at all.
Yeah, so excited. Really happy with kind of how well-rounded the line has been this year, especially. We feel like we've had a lot of home run pieces that have come out, so it's always exciting coming up to Christmas time here. We knew there was something else coming, so we should both be having our Phase 2 pearls in hand within the next week to probably 10 days, and we'll be shooting that video shortly after. But if you guys are interested, stop in your local Storm VIP Pro Shop and grab your own Viking today.